offense as Carmelo ranked 4th and Paul George ranked 9th in ISO points. Let's talk more about this Thunder team with Thunder reporter Royce Young. Royce, good to see you this morning. How does adding Carmelo Anthony really change the conversation about this team heading into the preseason and season?
Well, Sage, certainly a lot more buzz, a lot more anticipation, and a lot more pressure, really. You know, last season it was about recovering from Kevin Durant's departure, Russell Westbrook taking over the franchise and just trying to kind of navigate a path forward. Now it's about getting back into that title contention talk. And you bring in a star with the kind of megawatt power of a Carmelo Anthony, and not only do you have the attention of the league, but now you've kind of elevated yourself back in the conversation. But really, Sage, where this comes down to, the conversation's going to really follow, as it often does, Russell Westbrook again. How does he make this work? How do these three guys coexist on the floor together? And that's where it's going to really come down to a lot of this season. But the buzz is back in Oklahoma City, the anticipation, and really a lot of it is the pressure is back to contend and compete for championships.
Absolutely, but it is a story that kind of flew under the radar this weekend with everything else happening in the sports world. You turn and you look, and there's Carmelo Anthony landing in Oklahoma City. How much, Royce, was this move made to keep Westbrook there, who's a free agent next year, Paul George as well?
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's one of the things right now that's kind of hanging over the franchise. The last check mark that they got to get is Russell Westbrook signing that Supermax extension. It's still on the table. They're waiting on him to say yes or no. He has an October 16th deadline. Training camp starting this week. There's some feeling around the team to get Westbrook back in town, and he's going to be interested in finally putting his name on that. But Paul George is an unrestricted free agent next summer. Clearly, right now, Sam Presti is trying to put the pen in Westbrook's hand at least to say, look at what I've done for you. You can't say that you don't have help anymore. Now you've got plenty of it. You've got 2 all-star guys, 20 all-star appearances between the 3 guys, the most in the NBA combined right now on one team. So right now, this team, it's going to be about winning, Sage. It's going to be about what they do on the floor. If they can produce and they can actually compete with the Warriors, that's going to do all the recruiting that Sam Presti needs. And really, it starts today. These guys got to start building a relationship and getting to know each other both on and off the floor.
No talking, no complaining, just show me. And you said the word there, Royce Young, pressure. Thank you for the latest. Enjoy the festivities there in Oklahoma City. Let's stay now in the Western Conference. Randy with more on the Rockets.
All right, Sage. Yeah, Houston coming off a 55-win season, looking to take that next step after acquiring Chris Paul back in June. Big question that looms, though, will CP3 and James Harden be able to share the basketball? Both ranked among the top 10 in the NBA in touches and time of possession per game last season. ESPN reporter Stefano Fusaro joins us now from Houston this morning. So the James Harden, Chris Paul era is upon us here, Stefano, and it's a situation where Houston trying to build a roster that can not only compete with, but take down Golden State. How are they feeling about their chances now?
Well, I'll tell you what, they'd feel a lot more confident if they had been the team that had been able to pull off the trade for Carmelo Anthony. I've been told, by speaking to several sources inside the Rockets organization, that Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Rockets, was able to find a third team that was potentially would have made the trade work from Houston to New York for Carmelo Anthony, but that third team decided to pull away in the final hour. Now, of course, we know Anthony is in OKC. Still, this team does feel confident that they have taken a step forward to compete with the teams like the Warriors in the Western Conference. The combination between Chris Paul and James Harden has the potential to be one of the most lethal backcourts in the NBA. But, of course, it is also the biggest question that this Houston Rockets team is facing. James Harden coming off the best season of his career, MVP runner-up, that was playing as a point guard, and still he decided to recruit one of the best point guards of all time in Chris Paul. But CP3 did tell our Shelley Smith recently that it showed the selflessness of James Harden to have him recruit Chris Paul here to Houston. And, of course, they feel confident that they can make it work. But how will that happen? 2 ball-dominant guards on this offense. How will that make it work? We're going to ask him that today at Media Day here in Houston.
Rockets have only been to the Western Conference Finals once since 1997, and that was 3 years ago when they lost to the Warriors. That's Stefano Fusaro with the latest from Houston. Go to the Eastern Conference, Jay Harris.
Yeah, Randy Scott. Philadelphia coming off a 28-win season, projected to win 42 games by ESPN's Basketball Power Index, the largest leap of any Eastern Conference team. BPI giving the Sixers a 78% chance to make the playoffs, something they haven't done since the 2011-2012 campaign. Philly will have to do it with an inexperienced bunch. Ben Simmons, selected number 1 overall in 2016, and Markelle Fultz, the top pick of the 2017 draft, getting set to make their NBA debuts, while Joel Embiid has played just 31 career games. For more on the Sixers, Sal Paolantonio joining us live from the team's media day. Hey, Sal, what are the expectations for the Sixers to finally make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference?
Jay, off the charts, Jay. Season tickets sold out in this town. Take a look at this beautiful $80 million facility, brand new for the 76ers here in downtown Camden. We're a stone's throw away across the Delaware River from downtown Philadelphia. And I can tell you, having been here for 30 years in this town, the playoff expectations for the Philadelphia 76ers are through the roof. I just sat for about a half an hour in the general manager's office with Brian Colangelo and talked to him about this young team. I said, give me one word about Ben Simmons coming back from the injury. He said, dominant. And then he went on, he said size, speed, vision. He's got all of it. He's been absolutely dominant in the gym, and we're so happy to have him back. How about Markelle Fultz? He said young talent, expectations for him, high, very high ceiling. J.J. Redick, they brought him in, veteran presence, leadership. They're looking for a nice blend with these young players and with the veteran leadership that they brought in to get this team, as you mentioned, 42 wins. That would get them in the playoffs. Remember, the Heat, Chicago Bulls got in last year with 41 victories. So this team is expecting to do big things. He said the playoffs are the goal for this basketball team this year with